We are live again. After technical issues, I'm back. Right, let's get on with this now seriously. So, we're talking about financial education in schools. As the description says, I am now an enterprise advisor in a secondary school that I actually used to go to. So, I used to be a student at this school in Stevenage, and I've now gone back. I must have left there about 2008, and now I've gone back in 2022 with a business. So the head of business studies at school wanted me to come in and talk to the students about my journey of starting a business. Now, obviously, the past more than 10 years, the journey has been different, right? I've had loads of different jobs and etc. And I've tried lots of different businesses that actually didn't go well. There's many businesses that I tried that failed. I think many of you know me as the one and only time that I've had a business as Manuka Media, but actually many people do still know me as the businesses I tried to start in the past that didn't actually work. So that's what I went in to talk to the students about. But I'm really getting a lot of questions around, but how did you get into the schools? Who did you speak to? How do you get, how do you become an enterprise advisor? So if you have any of those questions, please do pop them in the chat, in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions live. If you want to get into schools and talk about financial education or business or life skills or certain career paths, then I'm happy to answer as many of those questions as I possibly can. So yeah, this is how it began. So whilst there are no questions for now and they're coming in, I will be just talking about how I got into it, and maybe that will answer some of your questions already. So it all began with the mission and the intention to give back to the next generation, because after all, they are the future and they are the ones that are going to, create the latest medicine, the latest product, the latest gadget, the latest trend. They're the ones that are innovating and creating. So I'd love to be a part of that and give my feedback or give my journey to them so that they can get inspired, or just, really what it takes to start with is just that belief, isn't it? The belief that you can do it. And if you can see evidence in other people actually doing it, then, it just feels so much better. So basically what I did was I thought, okay, I didn't get taught in schools. This is how it began for me. I felt like when I came out of school, when I came out of university, I still didn't know about credit cards. I still didn't know about mortgages and loan to values and how to buy a house. And I didn't know about, business and employees and tax. And, there's just so many things about life that you have to come across that you don't really get taught in schools. And I see these posts all the time. I see people commenting saying, schools don't teach financial education, they don't teach money, they don't teach business, or maybe they don't teach it as much, because guys, this education is happening in schools, but it's the theory, right? It's what the books say, it's what the teacher says. So it's not actually happening in real time. I'm going to take a quick pause because I'm getting messages. And I want to make sure that, yes, I think you can hear me. That's good. No, so some people are messaging just in case you can't hear. So, yes, I can carry on. So, financial education in schools, business studies in schools, this is actually happening. I want to give credit to teachers and, to the school department that actually they are trying to teach this in schools. But it's not in practice. You're not actually practicing the art of running a business. So that's why when you leave school or you leave university, real life hits you and you think, how on earth do I actually do this? Because I studied business studies in school at GCSE level. And, you learn about the cash cow and the risk and rewards of things and, balance sheets. But actually in practice, I'd say that the the technical skills required in a business, or the theory of a business, is actually what I struggle with the most, because it was never put into practice. So I'm going back into schools, putting this into practice, showing people, or showing the pupils exactly what I learned from school and how I applied that to real life, and then what I learned from real life and how I applied that to business. So that's basically how I became an enterprise advisor, for that vision, for the dream of trying to give back to the next generation, perhaps something I didn't have. And this is how you do it. So if you wanted to become an enterprise advisor and you were thinking, yes, I want to go into schools and, maybe get more women in construction, right? So maybe you want to be a female construction leader that wants to encourage and inspire more women to enter that workplace. Or maybe you want to change the attitude that people have towards property or money, and you want to go back and inspire them, and show them actually what a career in that space looks like. So whatever your vision, whether it's to inspire people to look at your industry in a different way, or maybe you want to recruit people in the future and you want them to remember you, you want them to come and work for you sometime, then getting into a school when the students are learning about what to do next is a brilliant way to basically do that. So the steps I took to actually become a enterprise advisor, I went down the wrong path first. So I thought that contacting schools directly, and now bearing in mind I don't have children, so it's not like I was at a school dropping my kids off and then casually happened to speak to the teacher and be like, hey, do you need this service? So it wasn't organic or natural when it was happening. So what I couldn't do is casually drop it into conversation. So I took the direct approach by, maybe emailing, or, sending messages and emails and trying to find the right contact. But there was no luck there. I wasn't actually getting any responses from schools. The next path I took, so the next step was, I thought, in the middle of a pandemic, I thought, actually, I'm going to contact the local MP. So I had a meeting with our MP in North Hertfordshire, who absolutely loved the idea. He was backing me up 100%, but physically couldn't back me up, as in, they're so busy. They have got connections in schools. They are doing projects with schools, but they are not going to do the work for you, right? They're busy. So what an MP would do is kind of endorse it, or be the face once you've actually achieved it, perhaps, give you a bit of a boost or some exposure that way, but they're not really, they haven't really got the space or the time to actually set things up for you. So that I lost a year. So it took me a year of doing that, going down that journey that didn't work. So direct approach to schools, contacting MPs, that wasn't working. So then I came across a networking event. We all love a networking event, called the Herts Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce, and you'll have one in your specific area. And that one was where it happened. Now, I remember I spoke to the chamber and I said, I don't actually want to be doing networking to attract business. I actually don't need any more business. I know you should always be networking, and I am networking digitally and in other, spaces. I said to them, my leads come from financial services, and I network with financial services professionals. So I've got my events sorted for that, and my networking engagement sorted. But I've just noticed it's 11, so I'm going to have to do a minute silence. I'm going to take that minute now, actually. Okay, so that minute's over now. So it's the 11th of November, 11, 11, 11. So I wanted to take that minute yeah. Okay, so carry on. Yeah, so basically, I went through the Chamber of Commerce and I said I wanted to network with education bodies and schools because, and I didn't know if that was possible because I thought, why would a school go to a networking event, right? So I, wanted to go to schools and said, basically, I don't need it for business or lead generation. I want to actually talk to schools about my idea to bring more financial services and money education and business education and life skills. And they were like, yeah, there are education specific events and education specific networking events that are actually happening that you can come to. So I went to one of those events. I connected with the Hertfordshire County Council, and in there I met the coordinator who works with all the schools to drive more businesses into schools. So actually, guys, schools are hungry for business owners to come in. They want more guest speakers. So where I thought there wasn't the interest, actually there is a lot of interest. It's just the wrong route. So for me, it's all about connecting with maybe your local county council and finding the coordinator in that specific area that is the liaison with schools. And that person would typically be organising things like workplace experience, a work experience. They'll be organising apprenticeships. So they'll want business to come on board to take on apprentices. They'll be the ones organising what my title is, enterprise advisor, where there's a regular business person that they rely upon to have that presence in schools. So yeah, absolutely the way to go to network with education bodies and people in that sector who are looking for businesses like you. So because I'm in Hertfordshire, this particular event happened in Welling, beautiful golf course in Welling, and there was lots of education bodies and industries in that space. And there was actually a lot of local businesses too who have taken on students or who regularly take on apprentices. So this is basically the space you want to be getting yourself into. If you are a financial advisor or a mortgage broker or an accountant or in construction, in property, in any sector, in recruitment for that matter, and you want to give back to schools and educate them on something specific, maybe it's sales, money, presentation skills, applying for a job, absolutely anything that you can teach the next generation, then that's the place to be. That's the route to take. I'm obviously an advocate for the Chamber of Commerce, not on a sponsorship level at all. They don't even know I'm doing this video about them, but I'm an advocate for them because I that's the success route that I had. For yourself, it might be a local networking event that a coordinator or a liaison in a county council is already attending, and then maybe you can speak to them about that. But I'm definitely a strong believer that what you put out there will come back, right? So if this is something you want to do, you need to put it out there. You need to talk about it. You need to explain it. You need to tell people. You need to share it. So, that would be the recommendation from me is, talk to as many people as you can in that space about getting into schools and bringing, what are you bringing? That's what you've got to, prepare is that value added talk or speech or workshop or presentation that you can bring into schools. So that's what I did this morning. It was my first day at work, first day back at school. And there was teachers that I'd met from that used to teach me. Some people are still there. They look exactly the same. Like, in my opinion, maybe I was so young that I didn't really make that age connection. But they must have been a lot younger if they still look the same. Anyway, they certainly enjoyed that compliment. But yeah, so some lovely teachers that are still there. I reconnected with them. So this is my actual secondary school. This is the one I went to, and You know, I absolutely loved school and I'd love to be back there. And, you know, if you have been following my journey and my brand and you understand a little bit about Manuka Media and the bee, you'll know that this is what I call positive pollination. And positive pollination for me means basically what a bee does, right? So a bee takes pollen from this plant and then flies off and drops pollen somewhere else. And then that pollen that drops flourishes. And that's exactly how I feel when you and I are out there in our own individual business as busy bees and we're dropping pollen. And for that is, you know, in practical terms, we're dropping positivity, knowledge, education, inspiration, and that will then flourish. So today, I've done my bit, just like every bee. Every bee does their bit for the world. They're so undervalued and underestimated. But actually, you know, if we lost one bee, then that would have a massive impact on the colony, on the community, and the production of honey, etc., etc. So you get the analogy. So that's why me as just my own little bee isn't enough. You know, I need many of you in order for the vision to be achieved, the vision of having better educated pupils leaving school with better knowledge about money. We'd certainly be making better decisions in politics, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we? Just if we had people who genuinely understood money from a personal, business, and economy and on a global scale, we would all make much better decisions. And that doesn't mean we never get it wrong, but we would just make better decisions. We would feel more confident and secure. We would have better lifestyles and more freedom and more flexibility. That's what it means to educate people. That's what it means to feel educated, to feel empowered. So I ask you, if you're listening, you know, do you want to go on that journey? Do you want to be a positive pollinator? How can you make your mark? How can you, you know, help the rest of the bee colony or the community? How can we all bring bring more positivity and more education to the next generation? So that is my 18-minute talk, 20-minute talk on financial education in schools. Obviously, more information on this will be coming as I get more experience in schools and as I do more programs and workshops. I will be sharing that as much as possible with you. Questions are welcome. This is a really awkward time of the day for me to have done a live. But thank you for some of the comments coming in, even as text messages coming in privately. I really appreciate that. But yes, please do your bit. If you want to get, you know, financial education in schools, property education, construction, sales, business, life skills, practical skills, you know, anything at all, then that is the route to take. Any questions, of course, I'm always happy to answer those. Privately as well, if you want a little bit more guidance. But I will wish you a happy Friday, everyone, and I will see you soon.